I heart, I very happily welcome our today's very learned and distinguished personality, Honorable Shri Justice Akil Kureshi sir, retired Chief Justice from Rajasthan High Court and Honorable Tripura High Court. Friends, today we are really lucky to have this speaker today amongst us, who has spared his valuable time at a very short notice. When our Mr. Abhitanji, he approached sir, he immediately agreed for the benefit of the students. And none other than Honorable Justice Kureshi, we can look forward for today's topic, journey through justice. That is very interesting topic selected by Niyati. And friends, today we are here to learn lot out of Shri Kureshi sir, that how do we go through our stages of our journey through this field of law, whether it is income tax law, whether any other civil or criminal law. Law is law eventually. When one steps into the field of law, you are bound by certain rules and regulations, not only legally but also morally. And when we talk of morally, lot of challenges we come across. We have been reading various episodes or various news items, and we are simply as a reader, but we never anticipate what hardship the one person is facing when he's in the seat of the judge. And that is what today we are going to learn from Kureshi sir. Friends, about the Chamber of Tax Consultant, I just quickly brief upon, because there are many non-members who are attending this today. The Chamber of Tax Consultants is an association in the field of spreading education, in the field of direct tax, indirect tax, international taxation, accounting and auditing, and various other students' committee activities, such as moot court, this debate competition, today's Udaan episode, and so many things. We have our website ctconline.org. Our association was formed in 1926. Today we are in our 99th year. Next year, 25-26, the chamber will see the sunrise of 100th year. We will be having our centenary year. So friends, my appeal to you would be that you also be part of the stream of the chamber. Be member of the chamber, whether by your student member, if you are a student of law or accountancy and company secretary and so on. If you are already as working as professional, do join as a professional, whether it is CA or a lawyer or company secretary, ICW and so on. The details are mentioned in our website ctconline.org. And we have our residential refresher courses also. This weekend we are having our FEMA conference in Ahmedabad, followed by GST conference in Bangalore in the month of January, and in the month of March, our direct tax RRC in Raipur. With these few words, I will not take much of the time between you and the learned speaker, and I straightway hand over the proceedings to the chairperson, Niyati. Over to you, Niyati. Thank you, sir, once again for joining us, and we are looking forward for the great session from you.
Thank you very much. Kind words.
Thank you so much, Vijay bhai. Good evening, everyone. And it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to our Udaan's episode 9, Journey with Justice Akil Kureshi. And we, the student committee of the Chamber of Tax Consultants, we are deeply honored to host this enriching episode featuring one of the most distinguished figures in the legal fraternity. Justice Kureshi's name is synonymous with integrity, profound legal acumen, and a relentless commitment to upholding justice. His illustrious career, from serving as Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court and Tripura High Court to his contributions on the bench across various jurisdictions, has been marked by thought-provoking judgments and a legacy that continues to inspire. Today's conversation will take us through his remarkable journey, his values, and his perspectives on justice, fairness, and evolution of the legal landscape. It is not every day that we get the opportunity to delve into the life and learnings of such a towering figure, and I'm sure this session will leave us all inspired and enriched. We are also privileged to have CA Abhitan Mehta as the host for this chat show. His insightful questions and engaging style will undoubtedly bring out the best in this dialogue. Before we begin today's chat show, I would now like to invite Advocate Devendra Jain to formally introduce our today's esteemed speaker, Honorable Justice Akil Kureshi. Devendra bhai, over to you.
Honorable Chief Justice Akil Kureshi, sir, President of the Chamber, sir, my dear colleague Kavita, students, fellow professionals, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to you all. First of all, I'm a little bit emotional and speechless to get this opportunity to introduce the personality Justice Akil Kureshi. So I'm thanks to Chamber and the whole team to give me this opportunity to introduce whosoever is connected with the legal field needs no introduction of Justice Kureshi, but as a matter of formal ritual of any program. And as I can see, there are many students also in this. So let me have a formal introduction, which will, with his illustrious career in the law field, will set a sense of inspiration and motivation to the young law graduates. Justice Kureshi is a science graduate in mathematics in 1980, qualified as a lawyer in the year 1983, precisely the year when I started going to school. He joined the bar in the year 1983, was appointed as additional central government standing counsel from 1992 to 1998. In Mumbai, we are fond of Justice Kureshi because he was presiding the tax bench. But his illustrious career, he was assigned the entire work of Central Administrative Tribunal, Ahmedabad, and handled a large number of service matters on behalf of government. He has also handled a large number of other matters, including land acquisition, criminal matters, and matters pertaining to passports. He was regularly appearing in private matters in High Court in various fields, including special civil application in the High Court in various fields. In criminal matters, he was appointed as additional counsel of the Income Tax Department in January 2000 and represented Income Tax Department in the Gujarat High Court up to December 2001. He was appointed as additional judge of the High Court of Gujarat and took charge as in the year 2004. Was confirmed permanent judgeship in the year 2005. He was appointed as the active Chief Justice of High Court of Gujarat from 2nd of November 2018. 14th November 2018 was the remarkable day when he was transferred as a judge of Bombay High Court, and we were blessed with his lordship's presiding over the tax bench. Then in the year 2019, he was elevated as the Chief Justice of the Tripura High Court. In 2021, as Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court. Though my Karma Bhumi is and Janma Bhumi as such in Maharashtra, but basically I'm a Rajasthani, I belong to Rajasthan. So that also is a connection with. And before I hand over the session to him, let me point out my personal observation. And when I started, though I was in the year 2018, it was almost 2 decades of my career as a chartered accountant. And then I shifted from CA practice to an advocate and I took Sanad in the month of October 2018. And with blessings of God, somehow I got some writ petitions in tax matter in the very next month. And precisely that was the month in which Justice Kureshi was transferred from Gujarat to Bombay. And I was the debuted before his lordship. And what I observed, that's my personal experience, that the way he encouraged the young lawyers is really commendable. Not for a moment I had any kind of apprehensions of the way he took through the matters and the way he used to hear the matters. The court culture especially was much laudable. So thank you very much. And with this brief introduction of such a mega personality, I would say, I will hand over the dice to because I would not like to come in between lordships and the participants. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our introduction. And thanks to Chamber once again for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Devendra.
Thank you,
My
Devendra
pleasure,
bhai.
sir. My pleasure.
Over to you, Abhitan.
Thank you, everyone, for agreeing to host this talk show and Many thanks to Akil sir for agreeing to spare his valuable time and insights. 2 weeks ago, I and Niyati had gone and met sir to discuss the outline and things. Friends, one thing he very categorically said that I'm open to any questions which you have not thought through or you have not communicated. So please feel free to type whatever questions you want to type in the chat box. Subject to constraints of time, we'll like to address what thoughts you have in your mind rather than what thoughts we have discussed with sir. As Devendra sir rightly said, how you know what metal a person is. Undoubtedly, a person being a CGI talks about his academic brilliance, talks about his repute, talks about his professional career, judiciary career. But if you want to know what person he is, it is always said you should check with his juniors. To that, I would like to add that you should check with the NGO who is trying to call him for a free seminar. How easy it is to coordinate with that person shows what metal it is. So the ease what sir has given to us, as always, this is the second time he has agreed to be here on the platform, agreed to spend an hour before this with us, talks miles about it. So with this, sir, what during your initial time was something which stuck with you in your initial career? Any instance, any thoughts or any anecdotes you would like to share, sir?
Thank you, Udaan. Thank you, everybody, the speakers, for such glorious words for me. My life story, I would like to state in just 3 or 4 sentences. Devendra ji said that the year in which I got my law degree, he went to the school. And I've said this in my farewell speech. I took up law as a course because I thought after BSc, that's the easiest degree to get. But I realized after doing law that I've just entered the school all again. And that happened lifelong. The law, you are committing to studying lifelong, and that is not ceased even after my retirement. So all the students, remember one thing, law is a training that you have committed to for the rest of your lives. In the process, I would also like to pledge my full support to your initiatives and activities. Anytime that I can be of help, please accept this. Abhidan, the very crucial moment where unconsciously I decided to join law was I was still a teenager, barely 12 or 14 years in the school. And in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, there was this agitation going on, Navnirman movement, the students and teachers movement against the then very corrupt political dispensation. And there were agitations. And the political class had clamped down on the agitators by putting them in the preventive detention laws. At that time, it was MISA, Maintenance of Internal Security Act. And some of them decided to challenge this. Late Girishbhai Patel was a leading lawyer and an activist. He surfaced to file this habeas corpus petition. The police were waiting to arrest him. He had gone underground for a few days. He went to the High Court, filed the petition. As a young student, very interested in these movements, accompanied by my brother, I had gone to the High Court to watch these proceedings. And I saw that the police had just lifted him and put him in the van. Whole High Court was more like a police station. There were hundreds of police trying to keep the crowd at bay. And from the van, Girishbhai gave a short extempore speech full of defiance of the authority of government, backed by government machinery. And he said the people of this state they will be answerable to the people of this state. And that moment triggered a romance for me towards law. Seeing the struggles of a society for a just order and the enormous powers that the law had to aid this process. Somewhere down the line, I chose law as a subject, went through many ups and downs, twists and turns, but never once regretted having chosen this field as my vocation. And more importantly, when I became a judge, it was extremely fulfilling. I'll tell you a few things later on when we discuss more. But the whole life journey was all about trial and error, making mistakes, correcting yourself, taking stock of where you are going, correcting the course whenever you need. And I'll tell the youngsters who are joining this, my friends, remember, it's not the success that teaches you anything in life. It is how you deal with your failures, right? As an individual, as a family, as a country, as a society, how we deal with our failures is far more defining than how we enjoy our success. At a national level, the country had made a blunder in the emergency and a bigger blunder when ADM Jabalpur judgment was given by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court hit the nadir of its career when 4 out of 5 judges of the Supreme Court held that right to life and liberty is not what can be preserved during emergency. It can be suspended. The sole person, H.R. Khanna, said that Article 21 is not the sole repository of right to life and liberty. So abolish your constitution, eliminate the fundamental rights, take away Article 21. But such a right to life and liberty inheres in every citizen or a member of a civil society by just being a member of that society. And this was a mistake. From that, the country learned, the Supreme Court learned, the systems learned. Today, we cannot imagine emergency ever being imposed again in this country because our systems have become more robust, more resistant. Today, we cannot imagine Supreme Court ever giving the judgment along the line of ADM Jabalpur. And that is what defines a person, that is what defines a society, and that is what defines a country.
There are two offshoots from this. One, from the start of your talk, you said that you went and attended the court hearings. As a law student or as a law graduate initially, would it be advisable to go and attend court hearings? I've heard one of the tax lawyers, Nishit Desai, in his initial times, used to say my key learnings was sitting on the last bench of the tax courtroom. Would that be true even today, that it is itself a place of learning?
Absolutely. One word answer, yes. But let me elaborate. Okay. When I grew up, the law teaching was very different from what we have today. Attendance was not compulsory. Getting to law was so easy. We did not have to prepare for the entrance tests and all that. And the popular joke was that if you're a good student, you go to science. And if you're good in science, you'll become either engineer or doctor, or then the pharmacist. If you are in commerce, you become a chartered accountant. But if you're not good, you do your BSc or BA or whatever. After BSc and BA, you have nothing to do. Join the law because that's the easiest degree to get. After LLB, you have not found any other option. Join the legal field. And after 10 years or 20 years, if you're still not happy in your field, become a judge. So that is how the law was being treated. Things are very different. But we did not enter classes regularly. We did not take the studies that seriously. But our education came from various other activities. Attending court was absolutely the best possible way of learning. Okay. You have some papers, if you have some access to a small matter, read the matter carefully. And then attend to the matter. Before and after, how the mentioning is done, what happens when the judge is slightly irritable, what happens when the other side is trying to browbeat or overpower you, what happens when somebody is not in proper etiquette or proper address. All that you can learn. And the novelty of appearing before the court you appear, just disappears. We learn from students' movements, from agitations, from students' unions, and all those are absolutely part of learning. Whenever I go to a law college, particularly National Law University, first thing I ask is, do you have a union? Lawyers are the people who should be raising their voice against injustices. Look at our freedom movement. Look at the framing of the Constitution. Look at all challenges. They have come from lawyers. Gandhiji was a lawyer. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was a lawyer. Dr. Ambedkar was a lawyer. Motilal Nehru was a lawyer. So all thinking has come from lawyers. And unless we go to the streets, unless we take part in students' movements, take interest in politics, the learning remains incomplete. But purely in terms of the practical application, attending the courts as often as you can is a best way of learning. Your moot courts, your public debates, all that will be secondary if you know how the real courts are functioning.
Sir, we have been discussing courts or litigation as one facet. But as a young lawyer, one has a very bouquet of opportunities. Broadly, he can go to the industry directly, he can go to a law firm, he can join a senior counsel, look for a judiciary work, be an intern somewhere. And again, these are the 5 broad heads. Then it comes to specialization of different laws. Upcoming law, various laws, privacy is upcoming, social media, tax laws are always a subject matter of debate, international laws, foreign trade practices have been talked about, arbitration has been on the round. So, how, sir, as a graduate, one, if I have done some internships, it would help me to, understand or navigate. But if the internships of that level are not available, and after 3 years or 5 years, I'm coming out as a lawyer, what should be my parameters be for evaluating these options? Money, designation, social, what you would put at 3, 4 key parameters, very individualistic, but should be relevant. And at times when you may be meeting young people, there are few parameters in their mind which should not be relevant in your view. And which of the fields one may, sir, look about?
Excellent question, Abhita. Whenever I go to the law students and talk to them, typically I start with, how many of you can see yourself in litigation practice? How many of you in non-litigation practice? How many of you in academics? And the last is none of the above and undecided. And it is this undecided which is the most crucial part. Okay, my first advice to your viewers is, don't be in a hurry to decide. Okay, just absorb, just experiment, get as much as exposure as possible. And what parameters would be applied? One, your circumstances. Two, your aptitude. Three, your abilities. And fourth, your liking. To your youngsters, I would say, there is nothing in life which will be always exciting and interesting. I rate judges' life as the most exciting vocation ever. And even that 80% of the work is routine and mundane work. So you can't get bored. So don't get daunted by boredom or routine work. And in the reverse scenario, you cannot do entire life what you don't like at all. And therefore, you have to have a balance of what is your aptitude, what are your likings, plus what is good for you. So my first advice to them would be, keep your mind open, keep your eyes and ears open. Don't be in a hurry to decide anything at all. Just get as much exposure as possible. Get internship, it is possible, of various fields, from litigation practice to big law firms to lower courts also. Don't shun the lower courts. See how they are functioning. Also, in criminal side, very often these young lawyers feel criminal side is a vestibule where we are not interested. My first advice to any young law student is, don't ignore criminal law. Because you may be a law advisor to a company and your company chairman will come to you with a summons from the court under 138 negotiable instrument, a check bouncing case. And he'll be nervous. You can't say, I don't know anything about it. So get exposure to all fields. Take as much experience as you can of different works. And then slowly start thinking what appeals to you, what you are likely to be good at, What are your possibilities? I may be good at, I may be liking something, but I may not have the opportunity. My resources do not permit me to go to Delhi and survive for 3 years. So all those parameters you have to put on table. Within that, yet another advice would be, when you start your practice, don't be in a hurry to super specialize. Okay? Start as wide as possible. Take exposure of as many fields and as many branches as you can. It is all the combination of this will make you a better lawyer. Then slowly you will have to specialize, because we are in days of specialization. A specialist tax practitioner or an arbitration practitioner would know so much in his field than a general practitioner. But to start with specialization, you're blindsided about so many other things. And law is never a watertight compartment of civil versus criminal versus constitution versus tax. As a tax practitioner, you know tax is amalgam of all civil laws, of partnership and inheritance and Hindu Succession Act and marriage and divorce, primogeniture. There are so many concepts coming in tax alone. Now, PMLA brings in quasi-criminal proceedings, right? So all these things, nobody can say, I know nothing about it. Like doctor, as we say, the doctor who is a specialist of left ear does not know how to treat right ear. Law is not all about that. We have to have it, but then slowly see where your possibilities are, where your aptitude is, what your opportunities are. But of the newer fields, IP is one of the fertile fields, intellectual properties. Arbitration is fast gaining currency because of the court delays and etc. Taxation, of course, has been age-old practice, and it has its own fascinating peculiarities. But overall, I would only say get as much varied exposure as possible. Keep absorbing all that. Take advice from your seniors, from lawyers, wherever you intern. Absorb all that, and slowly over a span of 5 years or even after that, start making up your mind. In the process, you might even make an initial mistake. Don't be shy of correcting your mistake. I might think I would be very good at litigation practice or original side practice in Bombay. A year or so later, I would feel that no, I might be much better off with a law firm. So initial period is going to be a little bit of trial and error with a broad thinking and a well-informed decisions. But those decisions are not always correct. Always be flexible enough to change them and correct them if you think you have made a mistake.
Yes. Sir, 2, 3 points which you have touched upon in this, I would like to dwell upon. One is you have said very rightly, assess your situation. What is your background? What are the. But assuming the situation permits, sir, but we have seen now one of the primary filters or criteria of initial job selection or career selection is also the for initial remuneration. How much, because it also comes with a slight social baggage, both family and also your peers, your friends, that finally what package did you land up at? Versus if one joins a council, really, possibly there is no uh, remuneration at all. How one should navigate this thing? Second, you have said, sir, in your initial speech as well, one has to navigate failures. If I have done, you gave an example, you have gone into litigation a year after, you think you have to change, you should change. But always, sir, there is a time gap, where one is struggling first personally, then with the closed family, and when one does that change with the society at large, because people need something to joke about. Acha, ye nahi chala. How would you, how should one embrace or take these kind of situations, and how would positivity, one, it is very easy to say be positive, it is very easy to say be strong about it, nothing, it is life is long, 30 years of service, but practically when someone is pinching you, or when you are not earning that good and others are, how, sir, would one practically in this, especially the social media age, where Instagram, every your life is online.
So, Abhidan, again, very nice question. And I must tell you that I may not be the best person to answer this because I grew up in an era where we did not face so many pressures, right? From study pressure to performance pressure to success pressure to peer pressure. We did not have to encounter so much. We enjoyed our lives. We loved some good music, some late nights, some, masti, dhamal. All that was fully accepted. There is a pressure to perform and pressure to succeed very fast. So it's not correct for me to give advices without having experienced all this. But within that, uh, to begin with, I would say don't put a price tag on your success. Okay, don't put the zeros. I'll tell you in GNLU, the students had come to invite me for some convocation or some program, and I told them that look, you are the first batch passing out of GNLU, and we are closely watching how you shape and how you develop. And the student, out of sheer innocence, he said that, sir, we already have most of the placements done before the course is over. And I said, my friend, I was not waiting to see how many zeros get added to your first salary. I was waiting to see how you shape as lawyers and, more importantly, as human beings. And that will define what GNLU taught you. I understand these are very high words and you can do it afterwards. We all need material success. We must have sufficient money to be happy in life. But money can't buy you everything. Just remember one thing. At the end, when you hang your boots, when you call it a day, you would want to be remembered for having done something good for others and not how much money you have made. So within that, we all need success. We all need some money. We all need to be slightly well looked after monetarily to be happy. I'm not taking away the element of success in that sense. But don't put a price tag on your nameplate that I'm worth so and so. My first salary was so and so. My second jump was so and so. We are then chasing a mirage. You never succeed in that. You'll never win. Don't try to race against a ghost or an imagination. Yes, be well poised. Look for opportunities. You must make money. After all, it's a profession. And you must put price tag on the service that you are rendering. But your success or failure should not be measured in terms of how much or how less you are making.
Very true, sir. Sir, anything which as you have mentioned it a couple of times, what is the general question you get from NLUs? What you get from those students is more, in our terms, sir, we say there was Gen Z was one era. Millennials was one era. Gen Z is another era. The thought processes are very different. Work-life balance is something which is making news around both ways. Narayan Murthy is saying you work 70 hours to achieve success. Gen Z or the youngsters are saying working hours are fixed, say 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, whatever it is. Beyond that, it is our life. In initial time, sir, or you say there is a 10,000 hour rule to become a thumb rule to become an expert of the field. That is how the book Outliers would define that. What would you say, sir? There is nothing right or wrong, but what would be your take on these principles, or how should one look at again work-life balance, sir?
Okay, so two or three things. Number one, as I've said in a couple of earlier answers, it's purely individual. Do you want mega success in a short time? Do you want to reach a very top? Then hard work, there is no substitute. There is no question of getting away from hard work. But then forget about work-life balance. It's like a hermit. who should not think about a family and think about rearing children and such like. You are dedicated to a profession, you have a burning desire to reach the top, you are welcome to do it. But then other excursions and other diversions are simply not possible. If you are laid back and you want more leisure, success is not that important, then you're just as happy if you are fine built that way. But then you should not then worry that I did not succeed as much as my potential was. I did not achieve my potential, right? So the right balance would be the key answer. Very few people, it's some of the geniuses who really want to be ahead of the rest to be remembered once in a century, once in a decade kind of a legal personality. Probably all of us don't have it. Barring that, the middle band is probably the correct way of looking at it. Initial days, always be prepared to work harder. There is a greater requirement to put in more hard work so that once you have the experience, you'll be able to reap the benefit of your hard work later on. So first 10 years or so, you must be prepared to work reasonably hard, take a backseat of your little bit of leisurely time. But within that, I would also say that only work will not make you a perfect lawyer. To be a perfect lawyer, you must read not just law, but read outside of law. You must also travel. You must have interest in other subjects and fields like economics, world events, like politics, like psychology, how the sciences work, how agriculture works. Have as much exposure and interest in as many fields as you can. And if you call it taking away some time from your work, it's time well invested. But to sum up the answer, unless you are driven by an extreme passion to be at the top, the right balance would be aim for yourself about 10 years or so when you'll put in little more hard work. Make your base. And then, like a pyramid, you can start reaping the benefit of your hard work. And that would be a perfect life balance.
And sir, just on that point, as you rightly said, it is not only about your office hours, not only the assignments you are given. It is your reading, whether you read SEC, you read whichever field has the best updates. Do you read Economic Times? Which YouTube channels do you watch? Any interesting Supreme Court debates you are seeing, arguments you are seeing? Any parliamentary debates you are watching or reading constitutional debates as well? Various avenues, but would you say, sir, it is much required that you should be doing all this as a part of your development rather than thinking this is extracurricular and who has free time, you should be doing it? I am happy with my job, I need not do it. Secondly, sir, when you were as a judge, when someone would be arguing before you, how would you see this cross application? He's trying to apply some principles which are otherwise not so much there. With respect, the most famous principles applied by Mr. Palkiwala, that what is not written is as important as what is written in the Constitution. So he read it in a book a year or two ago, and in one of the biographies of his, it is written that on the way to the court, he recollected reading such a principle applied in foreign courts, and he told to get that book. How would you, sir, weigh all these aspects other than your work to make you more versatile or more to give you a 360-degree perspective? Or
Absolutely, Abhidan. If you're happy to be an average or above average lawyer, you don't need to read anything outside of law. If you want to be something above the average, you want to be an outstanding category lawyer, then this is absolutely part of a mandate. You must not know law, you must know much more beyond law. As I said, how does the agriculture work? Go to a village and see how our villages are surviving. What happens when there is a failed monsoon? What are their aspirations and hopes and expectations? And not just that, you must know something about sciences, you must know something about philosophy, history, and all that will make you a rounded personality. When 1 out of 100 matters requires a higher degree of application, you will be ready. And at that time, you can't go looking for these things. As you rightly said, Mr. Palkhiwala was such a voracious reader. And as he said, that our constitution has said deliberately so many things unsaid. How do you read them? How do you find them? How do you interpret them? And therefore, my answer is very simple. If you are happy being an average lawyer, just be happy doing this much and nothing is needed. But if you want to be outstanding lawyer, if you want to rise above the mediocrity, then it is absolutely essential.
Here, friends, I'll like to share one more thing, which last time when I was at Sir's office before this, another very interesting aspect which I have noticed of Sir and few other personalities like him, of welcoming a point from a junior, is something, you'll again to talk about. I'll quote him, I have not thought about this point. I'll think and get back to you. He could have brushed aside. He could have, given something impromptu for a junior to speak first in the conference. But this is what. So now addressing the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence today, sir. Positives, negatives, what impacts it will have, sir, you feel on the law, fraternity, legal system. First, it was good. One was happy. One had a $2 chat GPT premium, went to $20. Now it is already $200. So, and it says that now to solve complex problems, we need $200 a month, and only the easier ones are at $20. Well, sir, how would you put it? And I'll just read one question on the subject which has come from Mr. Prem. Sir, as times change and technology too changing at a rapid phase, what is the scope of artificial intelligence in dealing with such monotonous cases like property issues when all things are digitalized and others, etc.? Please highlight its importance and anything that you would like to mention. So in a way, the lower level jobs possibly or the routine jobs, would they be impacted by artificial intelligence? Yes.
Abhidan, the full contours or what shape AI will take, we have not seen it yet. We're all trying to understand, slightly apprehensive, sometimes cautious, sometimes excited, but we're all trying to see how it is shaping. But I have no fear of technology. Okay, when computers came in Ahmedabad, mill owners, very conscious of cost, would say, if I install this computer, how many people I can, discard? So only if there is cost benefit, I am going to have the computer. The next stage came when bank officers went on strike. The staff went on strike, thinking that they lose the jobs since the computers are coming. None of that happened. Today, can you imagine life in the world for one full day without internet? Your airports will shut down, your flights will be left mid-air, your trains will not run, and there'll be utter chaos. So something good will come out of this. I have no doubt about it. But like any other part of technology, we'll have to learn to put it to good use. If you put it to use without application of human mind, it's going to be misfire. A very simple examples I can give. Many years back, there was a brilliant lawyer in Gujarat High Court, Giriraj Desai. Early days of computerization, and one person went with a CD saying that this will have a research of all the judgments. He said, what does this CD do? He said, it fetches the judgments for you. He said, my friend, I want judgments here, not in the CD. So today, Giriraj Desai would not survive, right? Because the youngest lawyer can fetch you the best judgment from Privy Council in 1930s, which you are not even aware of, at a click of the mouse. But from hundreds of judgments to shortlisting of 10, then reading those 10 and explaining to the court what the judgment says, how it is useful, what principle it applies. GPT cannot do it. The technology can never do this. So let's not be concerned or intimidated by the technology. Let's embrace it with an open mind. Learn to modify our uses and put it to best use. For example, with Corona, a huge technological shift has taken place. We have all gone online. We have all gone paperless. At my age, I have no papers. My iPad is my mobile office. So there are so many positives. We just have to make a better use of technology. And you're absolutely right. These things can take care of mundane things, routine things, right? There are so many things which does not require application of human mind. They are repetitive. They are completely of the same kind. Just feed the basic information and the technology will do the rest. But if I start asking the chat GPT to give me a judgment, that's a risky part. I'm treading in a very unknown territory. It brings in things which may not be accurate. It gives an idea which is not my idea. So we have to be careful of not overuse.
True, sir. As you rightly put it, when computers came in, the workforce possibly required for manual bookkeeping would be much higher as compared to required for bookkeeping using computers and softwares. But if you say that accountants or your CFOs are not required, or wherever mind application comes, a human being is not required, maybe an exaggeration. It will aid. You have many databases, many tools which gives you a search and various judgments. But finally, you will need a human mind to read and decide which one applies to your facts and which one doesn't. Sir,
So,
coming to the core questions, I would say, in initial, this is more true, if I'm working in a law firm, frankly, or corporate sometime, is a question on ethics. I am told, yeah, your firm is charging too much. I want this, side gig. IT people use the word moonlighting. Obviously, these are not something which one would encourage or promote. But any particular anecdotes or any particular thought process you would like to share on the subject, why this is not something one should ever consider?
Abhitan, I was talking to a law firm. They used to have this annual meeting, and they had invited me to talk to this law firm. There's about 250 associates. And I asked them with a question. Rather than telling them something, I said, I want to have answer to one question. If you have a matter, your own, on which your life depends, it's a civil matter where entire life saving is at stake, or it's a criminal matter where your own life is at stake, which lawyer would you go to? You know, Surprisingly, answer was not the most influential lawyer, not the most well-known lawyer, not the most successful lawyer, but a lawyer we can trust. Universally, unanimous answer was that a lawyer we can trust. And this trust element in lawyers is something you cannot substitute. You build the trust, people will, lay down their lives for you. If you lose the trust, you can never regain it. It's all about your personal thinking about ethics, all about how you value your own image and your values. Nobody else can instill it, nobody else can enforce it. The law firm, what you do at night, perhaps they do not know. If you can do extra work, you siphon the work, you can divert the work. But ultimately, does it matter to you? Do you want this kind of success? Is what ultimately, as I said, you want to be remembered as a person who did something good, something ethical, something of value, not as a person who found shortcuts and reached the success much ahead of the rest.
Thank you, sir. Always it is a pleasure to speak to you. I know we have a hard stop at 7. So there are 3 questions I'd like you to, if you could answer briefly, and then we'll go for the vote of thanks. Sir, first question is any specific book you would like to recommend one to read, sir?
In fact, there are many. There are many, but two or three I can give offhand. One is there's a biography of Dr. Kurian Joseph. Verghese Kurian. I think it's called I Too Had a Dream. It's all about the White Revolution in Anand and around Gujarat region. It's a must read for youngsters. Second is a book called Fast Food Nation. I forget the name of the author. I might not remember, just now I don't. And the third book is a very interesting book by one sports person, Paddy Upton, that's a name, what called Barefoot Coach. Barefoot Coach by Paddy Upton. He was a mind coach of India's one-day team, which won the World Cup in Sri Lanka in 2011. And he has given some phenomenal anecdotes on life, on learning, on mind psychology, and so many things. For example, he said that when Gary Custon, the chief coach, engaged me, he was in South Africa, sort of equivalent to Ranji Trophy level of player. He said, what do I teach to mega stars like superstars like Sachin and Dhoni and Ganguly? They have played more than 1,000 one-day matches between themselves. But he realized that there are so many mind games in the sports also. I'm sure all your viewers will find this interesting.
Thank you, sir. Another follow-up on books has come. I'll park if we have time for that. But how can we, sir, create a niche for ourselves so that we can keep up with the competition?
Hard work, ethics, and sincerity. The only three things can help you. Your ethics will matter in every single aspect of your personality and your profession. Never compromise with that, even if it comes at a cost of some loss or some slow progress. 2, hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. In law, remember, with reasonable intelligence, there is nothing that you can not learn with hard work. But converse is just as true. Without hard work, you can learn nothing. And third, as I said, just always keep a balance. Always try to do the right thing. Sooner or later, the reward will come. Sooner or later, the success will come.
Sir, there is a long question which is there on courtroom management, on putting recipes, and the boards are not reached. There is a delay in system. What can be done to improve the system so far as all these issues are concerned? Is there anything we can do as students for improving the system?
Very long question, impossible to answer in a short time that I have. But I'll answer this and something which is not asked to me, okay? As a judge's career, for 18 years, I do not remember a single dull moment. Not a moment when I thought I should not have agreed to become a judge. And the reason is that judge's career has two most fascinating aspects. One is not the challenging legal topics or very complicated case, but at a time when the law and justice do not converge, what do? Do you do justice by breaking the law, or do you uphold the law and see injustice being done by you? And that's a dilemma which makes the life of a judge most fascinating. Second aspect is that before a judge, many people come with their problems asking for solutions. And the range of people coming before you is from the weakest to the mightiest of the society. And sometimes the weakest and the mightiest are pitted against each other. As a judge, all you have to do is give both of them a level playing field and then let the law take its own course. The most fascinating aspect of the judge's life is then to see the weakest person succeed against the mightiest person simply because the law is on his side. And that is a satisfaction which is unparalleled. So all of you are very young. All of you are still starting your practices. But if ever an opportunity comes where the system invites you to join the judiciary, particularly in the High Court, do not refuse.
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, friends. There are a couple of other questions, but due to time constraint, I hand over the proceedings to Niyati. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, and sorry for this little time cap.
No, our apologies. 5:30 should have been this.
Thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you so
Thank-
much, sir, for such a wonderful session and for guiding all of us and especially the students. With that, I now request our Vice Chairperson, Charmi Asia, for the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Niyati. It is both an honor and a privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Chamber of Tax Consultants, Students Committee, and all of us present here today. First and foremost, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Honorable Justice Kureshi sir for taking the time out of their busy schedule to share invaluable insights with us today. The wisdom and experience shared during this interview has undoubtedly enriched our understanding of the law, justice, and critical role of the judiciary plays in our society. Your words have not only been inspiring, but have also challenged us to think deeply about the responsibility we as a citizen, legal professional, and members of just society. I would also like to thank our esteemed moderator for expertly guiding today's session with grace and clarity, posing thought-provoking questions that prompted such a meaningful conversation. A sincere thank you goes to the organizing team for their hard work and dedication. Thank you once again to everyone who made this event a success. We look forward to future engagement of similar significance. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Really much.
Thank you, everyone. See you again in the next episode.